the most exciting thing I ever found? It's a tough question because I'm going to go out on a limb and say that my answer to this is going to be totally unsatisfying. Because when people ask me this, they want a short soundbite that fulfills what they are expecting to hear. You want me to go, the time I found the gold medallion. And then you kind of check it off on your box and you go, yes, that is the correct answer. I'm about to give you the incorrect answer. The short answer to what's the best thing I've ever found is, I'm not really sure. The longer answer is that there's a couple things, but they're almost more moments in archaeology than they are actual objects. Now, they are objects. It's not totally a philosophical exercise, but it's much more about the time and the place and the idea that a plan I had actually worked. Because behind the scenes in archaeology, 99 times out of 100, it doesn't work. So the times that it does, it's really exciting that it all worked out. That step 6 went to step 7 very smoothly, and it worked out and brought you to step 8. Now, my short answers as to, the best thing I ever found. I did find a Maya jade ear spool once. That's like a big sort of piece of jade, very nice, earring that an ancient Maya person would have worn like 1,000 years ago. I found one of those. I've found some pottery pieces throughout the years, often broken, but still they were ornate. Maybe they were multicolored. We call them polychrome, right? They got a bunch of different colorings. Maybe there were some hieroglyphics on it, or maybe it was just really finely carved. I remember this really finely carved, kind of half jaguar, half human face that the group I was working with one summer in Belize that we found in an excavation pit, and that was very exciting. That sort of, applies to the, isn't that an exciting piece of treasure, or this kind of thing, right? Probably the thing that I felt sort of the most elated about finding was I found a pretty big Maya structure once that nobody had ever found before. So basically, my own little mini Maya pyramid. Now, I've found literally hundreds of mounds in the jungle of ancient structures that the Maya made, from the small to the tall. But the biggest one I ever found was the structure itself was maybe 40 feet tall, but it was built basically on top of a hill, where the Maya added on a top to a natural hill. They kind of flattened the hill and then they added the structure on top. So the experience was of a much taller structure. It felt like it was 80 feet tall. Nobody had ever found it before. The way I found it was I went on Google Earth and I started to roll the little cursor over areas of our research area, and there was a spot where the altimeter on Google Earth went did it, and I'm like, you know what? That seems like the right spot. I think that might be a pyramid. And I made note to myself, I'm going to go check that out next time I'm in that survey area. And it was a long hike, and me and a friend of mine went and checked it out, and it was a pyramid. Now, that's very exciting. The other 99 times it wasn't a pyramid, but the one time it was. And that was just super cool, and it was really fun for me to kind of map it in and be like, wow, my plan really worked out. Of course, I've also found human remains lots of times in the past, and that is always very sort of introspective. So it's not, when you find the remains of a dead person, it's not like, wow, look, a dead person. It's really like, it's really introspective because you find it and you're kind of like, wow, they're dead. I'm alive. Sometime I'm gonna be like that. I'm gonna be dead. It's a very kind of deep moment doing that. And so I'm not here to say that I like finding human remains or something. They're very interesting. They definitely answer a lot of questions about the past because, of course, they're human remains, so it can tell you so much about the story of the past. But I don't want you guys to think that I'm just out there really excited to dig up a bunch of dead bodies. That's not true. But there is a moment there if you find something like that. And of course, I've found other objects that you might think of as very archaeological, like sort of arrowheads or other kind of projectile points like that. Other pieces of pottery, other implements, other kind of tools and this kind of thing. I found lots of that kind of stuff, sort of beads and these kinds of things. I've found all that. But ultimately, the most exciting thing I've ever found was myself. Oh, yeah. Oh, it was myself. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. You're like, oh, that is so lame. I don't care. It's true. In the looking for these things, I find that it's much more about the introspection, about the path that got you there, than it is about the object itself.